This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by SmartGolfDeals.com, the smartest way to shop for golf.
Welcome to our Golf Talk Canada video podcast, episode 2. Zakino and Weeks from our homes. Our home isolation continues, but we still try to cover some golf for you, our viewers, our listeners, and you've reached out on social media and asked us to tackle some topics, and we're going to do it today. We're going to talk about our favorite places to play golf around the world. We're going to talk about the best shots we've ever seen with our own eyes. Bob's been covering golf for a few decades for TSN and the Canadian media community, and myself calling golf on PGA Tour Radio. So we'll let you know. You asked us, what's the best shots we've ever seen with our own eyes? We'll let you know that today. We have Scully Time, rapid fire coming up later in the show, and a big announcement from our friends at Adidas. We have a fun social media contest for you that launches April 1st. But let's get to Bob. Bob, how are we doing before we get to news and headlines? How you hanging in there, my friend? I know you've been busy. I've been reading all your stuff.
Yeah, it's actually been amazingly busy. There's been a lot of news, with some of which we'll get to shortly. It's, you're adjusting. I haven't really been outside too much. I did go for a short run the other day, like about a 30-minute run. That's about the only time I've actually been off the property where I am. And other than that, it's hunkered down, and I'm almost finished my first 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and I'm partway through Ozark. So I think, like a lot of people, we're making it work.
I finished Ozark season 3 the other night, so I'm all caught up on my Ozark. It was very good, and I've been doing a lot of binge TV. Now, there was a ton of news and headlines that came out this week in the world of golf, but we're just going to pick off the top 2 in terms of what our Twitter audience has been hitting us up for. Let's just start with the easy one, the Olympics. There's no conversation. There's no debate there. It looks like the Tokyo Olympics have restarted their clock for the end of July, beginning of August 2021. So there's a new target on the board for the Olympics, which of course includes golf.
Yeah, and essentially the Olympics are going to be in the same spot on the calendar as they would have been this year had there not been the postponement. And so that means essentially for the men, it's going to go the Open Championship. There'll be another week, and then the Olympics will be on there. And then there'll be, I think, either a week or 2 weeks off, and then right into the FedEx Cup. So we know it's going to be busy at the end of this year. It's also going to be busy next year with the Olympics, as it was going to be anyway if none of this had happened. And the women will play a similar kind of deal. They'll have the Evian Championship, and then they'll have a break, and then the Olympics, and then they'll basically have a week, and then the Women's British Open. So a busy stretch for them as well. And then there's still lots of questions to be answered, such as who's going to qualify. So if you were going to qualify for this team, is that still happening, or is the qualifying period going to extend through to next year for the golfers? There's a lot of questions that we still have to figure out, but we can save those for another day.
Yeah, and the questions will continue, obviously. Eventually, we will get back to golf, and boy, is it going to be a condensed, crazy calendar in 2020, never mind 2021. I've got the feeling, Bob, that at some point the gun's going to go off, whether it be July, whether it be August. But when it goes, we're going to see probably about 16, 17 months of the craziest golf condensed all at once. It's just going to be absolutely mind-boggling. Now, one of the weird things that came out this week, I'm not going to say it's weird, because it kind of makes sense in the world we're living in right now, is we're all dying for content. We're all dying for something new to watch. We're all missing sports, golf being one of them. It's the way this story broke that I think is weird. Earlier this week on Twitter, someone reaches out to Phil Mickelson and says, "Hey, Phil, how about a rematch with you and Tiger, and you stream it for internet watching and viewing?" And Phil gets back with, "We're working on it." And then this story kind of goes from there. And the latest I read this morning is they're considering a rematch, like we saw last November on American Thanksgiving, but they're considering it with partners this time, which I really like. I love the partners idea. I'm not really interested in seeing Tiger versus Phil again. I kind of found it flat and uninteresting. But if you could create an athlete by their side, or an actor or a musician, or a Phil team against a Tiger team, something different, man, we all could use something to watch right now.
Yeah, and I think, talking to one person yesterday who said that they are looking at trying to do it in Florida, where a lot of golf courses are still open, minimal cameras, maybe only camera. And if they do it, I don't know. There's still a lot of questions on this. Is it morally proper to do? That'd be great for entertainment and great for us, but we're trying to tell people not to go play golf, maybe, or trying to social distance in their golf. Should we have it on? So, the only thing I hope that if they do pull this off, that the golf is a lot better than the last one. The one that they had in Vegas was pretty bad golf, and they didn't talk at all. I mean, I want some trash talking, and maybe that's why you need some other guys in there to kind of light things up a little bit. There's some pretty good trash talkers who are golfers, either professional or amateur, and that would be good to bring a couple of them in.
Yeah, to be honest with you, if we weren't in the situation we're in right now, whereas I think a lot of people are missing sports and missing golf, I actually have zero interest in this. If the world was normal and we were in March the way we were supposed to be in March, the way we were thinking about this before Christmas, and what a great 2020 that we were all lining up for, I really have zero interest in watching this to begin with. I think it's more the timing. And again, the moral conversation, that's a whole other conversation. But just from a golf enthusiast standpoint, or someone who loves to watch golf, cover golf, etc., unless, if there was regular golf going on, a PGA Tour was playing, we were getting ready for the Masters, I couldn't care less about Tiger versus Phil rematch. And to your point, Bob, like, man, the first one, maybe we need other people. Maybe you and I'll play for Team Phil, you play for Team Tiger, and we can get them trash talking, so that might be the play. All right, let's hit one of our topics for the week. And this is stuff that we really don't get into too much on Golf Talk Canada Radio, and certainly on TV. We did count down the top 50 private and public courses for the PGA of Canada last year. And there's a lot of great lists out there. And I love lists because they create conversation and debate. And I don't think you can have right ones, and I don't think you can have wrong ones. I think they do their purpose. But we never get to talk about our favorites. And a lot of people have asked us about our favorites. So we're going to go around the globe, and we're going to let's start with right here at home in Canada. And we'll go to you, Bob. Your three, and this is not necessarily the best. We're not saying these are the best. We might be, but it's our favorites, the ones that we love to play the most. I have a feeling, Bob, that maybe your own club might make your top three, because I know you're very, you love your own golf club, as you should. So what's your favorite three golf courses to play in Canada?
So I followed that exact same thinking. These are the most fun I've had playing golf, and not necessarily the best groom, the best scenery, whatever, but these are three places that I really have a fun time when I'm playing. And obviously the first one is my home course at Weston. I'm not sure if you're going to pick your home course too at the Hunt, but I love Weston, and I played there for 1,000 years, whatever it is. And I just, I feel like comfortable there. I have my friends there. So I think when anybody who's got a course, whether it's you're actually a member or just a course you play regularly, that's why you do that. My next one on the list was Jasper Park Lodge. I love playing out of Jasper in the mountains. It's just so scenic. It's not a hard course necessarily, but I love every single hole on it. I love the design of it, and you can have so much fun playing there and not get beat up by it, and unless you get maybe chased by a bear, because they have bears of course. And then my third one, of course, is I put these two together, Cabot Links and Cabot Cliffs. I had a great opportunity this year in the fall. I went out in October to MC an event out there, and they had a shotgun start, or they had a tournament start out there, and they finished early. And I went out and had Cabot Cliffs entirely to myself, and I played 18 holes in an hour and 45 minutes, and easily one of my top three golf experiences of my life.
Yeah, I remember that day when you did that. You texted Adam and I and told us, and I'm like, that's just special. And that's a great segue, Bob, because for my top three in Canada, I'll start there and I'll lump them together. I'll take Cabot as my favorite place to play golf in Canada. It's weird. Someone asked me this question on my Instagram Live last Wednesday night. If I could play one, which one would I play? And I said, if I could only play one round for the year at Cabot, I'd play the Cliffs, because I love how dramatic it is and how over the top it is in areas. But if I could play one course every day as a member at Cabot, I'd take the Links. I like how it's laid out. You can walk from a green to a tee, and I think, it's probably more playable for every level of golfer. And But that's just the way I break it down. But it's a special place. I love it. It'd be number one for me. Now, I will say this, and I've said this publicly before. Shame on me. I have not played a lot of golf in Western Canada. I've never played Jasper. I've never played Banff. I've never played Whistler. I've never been out to Victoria Island to play golf. So once the world gets back to normal, I've got to make a mandate to get out there and do that. And I have friends out there, as you do, and I think I need to get out there and play some golf. So my golf is kind of limited in Canada to Ontario and East. So I'm just staying in Ontario for my next two. And the National, I love. I've always loved the National. And one, I'll go back to my childhood, Summit. I played a lot of junior golf at Summit with my good friend Dave Hempstead, who comedian, great amateur player. And for me, that's just got a special spot. So Cabot, the National, and Summit are probably my three favorite places to play in Canada. Again, maybe not the best, although some of them are, some of them aren't, but those hold special places for me. Okay, Bob.
And the fact, wait a minute, the fact that you shot, what was your round at Summit this last year? What did you shoot?
Oh, that's right. I wasn't even thinking that. I think I was like 66 or 67 with Dave, which he was not happy about. So sorry, Hammer, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
Always makes you like a golf course when you play a good round.
This is true. Okay, Bob, let's go south of the border. And this is an interesting one because, man, I start to fall into the trap of scenery, topography, because there are so many great old landlocked facilities like a Wingfoot or an Oakmont and golf clubs like that we think of in the U.S. But I always tend to go to the water. I want to see where you went with this. Give me your three favorite to play in the U.S., although you have one that I have yet to play that I think might be.
That one's coming right at the top of my list. Yeah. Augusta National, playing there was pretty special. So I'm going to rate that as my number one golf experience in terms of courses in the U.S. And obviously it's a very privileged opportunity. Not a lot of people get to play there, but they have that media draw. And after 19 years, I guess I finally got pulled. So it was it's everything you could ever dream about and then more. And no matter how many times I had walked outside the ropes, following players, watching golf going on there, it's so different an experience when you get inside and you just don't want it to end. So that was my number one in the U.S. And then my second one is, of course, it's out in the Las Vegas area. It's called Mesquite. It's out in Mesquite. It's called Wolf Creek. There's a Wolf Creek in Alberta, but this is a different one. And it is just like playing on the moon. I've never played so many dramatic off the cliff, into the hoodoos in the rough and all sorts of crazy views, but it is a spectacular golf course to play if you ever get a chance. It's a little bit off the beaten track. It's not right in Vegas. It's about maybe an hour drive, 45 minutes to an hour drive up there. But like they used to say about the old Hyde House, it's worth the drive. And then my third one is one that you and I played this year. And you want to talk about golf courses that won't be on the top 100 course ranking, but were so much fun to play. Goat Hill in Oceanside, California, where we played this year when we were on a trip down to visit the TaylorMade factory. There's a great story behind this about how it's been resurrected. It's kind of like a Goat Hill golf course. The greens are perfect and everything else is kind of, you never really know. But I had so much fun playing on that golf course, even though I played like a dog. Now, you played great on that golf course. I think you made, 8-9 birdies or something crazy like that. But it was a fun place to play.
Our friend Rick Young suggested I switch from TP5X to TP5, and I went out and had 9 birdies on that day. I birdied half the holes at Goat Hill, so I got to talk to Rick apparently a little bit more about my golf ball selection. I loved that day at Goat Hill. I thought it was a great day. We got to play Aviera. Our friends at TaylorMade are the best, and that was one of the most fun days I had on a golf course for the entire year in 2019, for sure. Now, as you know, Bob, I haven't been to cover as many Masters or to as many Masters as you, but I've been there I think I've been in that draw about 10, maybe 12 times and have yet to have played Augusta, so I can't put Augusta on my list. So for me, I'm going to go with, in no particular order, Pacific Dunes. You'll probably see a theme here with me. I love Cabot. I love the cliffs and the links at Cabot. Well, man, if there's an American version of Cabot, it's got to be Bandon. So I'll go Pacific Dunes. Although I love all 4 courses there, Pacific Dunes is my favorite of the 4. Pebble Beach, for obvious reasons. It is just, just a special place, Pebble. And we saw it this year, how great a special place it was for Canadians with Nick Taylor getting to win. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love Pebble Beach. And for my third, I had a very difficult time with my third because there's so many courses I love. Ocean Course at Keo Island. I love the Pete Dye course at French Lick, Indiana. I like Winged Foot. Like, there's just so many great golf courses. But I think I'm going to go with Whistling Straits. The PGA Championship course there at Whistling Straits on Lake Michigan is pretty awesome. So those would be my three favorite today anyway, until someone texts me and goes, reminds me of another golf course. And by the way, Bob, I have played Wolf Creek, and it's like a computer game come to life. It is unbelievable. If you ever go to Vegas to play golf, drive north, like Bob says, and go play Wolf Creek. A ton of fun. Okay, Bob, let's go international. Your favorite three international golf courses can be anywhere you want in the world: Scotland, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, anywhere you've been that you've had a great time playing golf.
So I went off the board a little bit here. And again, you could pick some obvious ones over in the UK or in Ireland or places like that. I haven't played a ton over there, so I don't have a lot of experience like you in Western Canada. That's kind of my weak link, which has to get filled in. But I played a course in New Zealand years ago in Rotorua, a place called Rotorua, and it was the most remarkable place. It had these little thermal geysers in the bunkers, and it was not necessarily one of those great golf courses that's going to be on anyone's big list. But I had a really cool time playing in there. The topography of the land there was very rocky and up and down. You could see some ocean, you could see some trees and things, but I liked that one. It was really fun golf course to play. I also I did play one course in England called Royal Cinqueport, which has been used for a qualifier for the Open Championship on several occasions. And it's right along the ocean front there. And I had a great time playing in that. It was hard as rock that day. And I'll never forget playing and hitting a 5-iron about 300 yards because it just rolled like it was on a road. So that one stood out as well. And then I went down to Cabo San Lucas. I've been on a few times down there, but one trip I played a course called Quivera, and it is right into the side of a mountain, and it is an experience to play there. The golf course is absolutely stunning visually. You would look out in the ocean, you see whales breaching and things, but every 5 or 6 holes, they have a little cabana, and you take a break, and you have a tequila, and you have a little taco. So your round takes about 6 hours, but by the time that's over, you've had so much tequila you don't remember anyway.
Well, there you go. That just sounds like that sounds like a day on the golf course right there. Yeah. I have yet to been to Cabo San Lucas. I'm dying to go. They've got so much great golf. Again, maybe when the world gets back to normal, that'll have to be that in Western Canada. I think are the 2 spots I'm trying to get to that I haven't been to. For me, international, my favorite golf course maybe in the world is Turnberry, and it was great before the renovation. And now it is just spectacular. There's a stretch of golf holes from 4 to 11 or 12, and you just don't leave the ocean. And the lighthouse is always there, that classic Turnberry lighthouse. And it's just tremendous. My next course, I'll leave Scotland and I'll head to Southwest Ireland. And this is interesting because this course is a little bit controversial in the sense that people go to Ireland to play links golf. And when you go to Old Head in Kinsale, it's not exactly a links golf course experience. It's a crop of land out on the sea that's about 500 feet above the ocean. And there's really nothing that's kind of links Irish golf about it. It's more of a North American golf experience. But 15, 16 holes are on cliffs 500 feet above the ocean. It's just mind-boggling. You just don't even know what planet you're on. It's one of the most unique golf experiences in the world. Kind of a similar experience, Bob, as to what you kind of outlined at Wolf Creek, where you're up there and you're just looking around and going, really? Like, I can't believe they built this. Well, Old Head's kind of the Irish version of kind of that mentality. And then my final one is Royal County Down. It's often ranked number 1 on the world list. Yeah. It's certainly one of the hardest golf courses anywhere on the planet. In fact, I will say Royal County Down is the hardest golf course on the planet because you don't need weather. All these golf courses we're talking about, if you give a stiff wind and a tough day, they can all be tough, right? You know, we've seen Ocean Course Keo Island in a 30-mile-per-hour wind just beat up the world's best players. We've seen all these golf courses if you get the right day. But Royal County Down, I don't care, on the calmest day, that is the hardest golf course in the world. And guess what? It's never calm. So it's
Yeah.
always brutal. So, all right, let's go to our honorable mention, Bob. I'll just throw mine out, and I'll just, again, for enjoyment, there's no place in the world I enjoy being and playing golf more than Casa de Campo. And I was there earlier this year when Pete Dye passed away. He was at his home there. It was very sad. But what Pete Dye and the people at Casa de Campo have built there is just tremendous. And it's not just golf. It's like the total thing. I just love being there. If I could ever afford to, I'd retire there one day. I don't know. I think I got another 40 years of work left before I can afford that, Bob. So maybe somewhere
Especially
in
after the last couple of weeks.
So I love Casa de Campo. That would be my honorable mention. It's hard. And it's funny, if you watch the PGA of Canada members on social media, there's so many PGA of Canada professionals that adore Casa de Campo, that they absolutely love it. So that says a lot right there. Okay, Bob, give me your honorable mention.
My honorable mention, I'm going to go back out to the homeland out in Prince Edward Island, where my great-grandfather was one of the founding members of the first golf courses on the first golf course in Prince Edward Island way back. It's actually now Belvedere, but I'm going to the links at Crowbush Cove. And I know people say that the first, there's some funky greens and a few funky holes, but I've never had a bad time playing there. I've always had good times with friends. I've always had even people I haven't met before. I've just walked up on a tee sometimes and joined up, and I really have enjoyed it. I find it really playable. I think some of the people look at that 17th green and go, that little dinky hole, it's only about 90 yards long, and say, what happened here? Did they run out of property? I said, no, I think that's a kind of a cool little hole. You might see some of those holes if you golf a lot over in the UK. But I've had good times there, always had a good experience, and so that's why it's my honorable mention.
I love Crowbush, and I love that hole. I love the view from the tee deck, Bob. And if you can't appreciate some quirkiness and some things like that, then don't ever get on a plane and go to Scotland or Ireland and play golf.
Yeah, right.
So, and the people in Prince Edward Island are the absolute best. Mark McLean, Laurie Kane, everyone out there. Just you bump into anybody, they're the nicest people in the world. So,
yeah.
All right, Bob, we're going to come back. Actually, we got one more topic. I almost jumped the gun there, went to Scully time. Greatest shot we've ever seen with our own eyes. I'll go back 2 years ago to the Century Tournament of Champions at Kapalua. I was working PGA Tour Radio. I was with Dustin Johnson for 4 days. DJ dominated the field at Kapalua, and I've never seen a guy have 5 or 6 eagle efforts. It seemed almost daily. He was turning the golf course par 4s into par 3s, par 5s were all 2-shotters. It was ridiculous. And it just one eagle attempt after another eagle attempt, and it never became more relevant or more obvious of what he was doing to the golf course. And when he got to that par 4 12th on the weekend, it's about 400 yards and change. The last 60 yards are downhill. And if you hit the ribbon of fairway that lines up against the left rough, there's a bunker there you got to challenge. If you can take that on and land it on the left side of the fairway, it'll kick forward and chase down the hill. And often guys try to get it to the front edge, etc. The pin was in the back middle that day, and he hit that drive to about 3 inches shy in the heart. Almost had a hole-in-one on a par 4. And I just started laughing because you run out of words to describe what you're seeing. He continued to drive par 4s. He continued to drive par 5s and 2 and give himself 15 footers for eagle. It was ridiculous. And coming off Kapalua, Bob, that week, I went, how's this guy not going to win every tournament he plays in this year? And he went on to win a few more, but he fell down the stairs at Augusta, and it kind of got derailed from there. But all right, what's the best shot you've seen, Bob, with your own eyes?
Well, it's not hard to go back to 2000 at Glen Abbey, and this guy standing in this bunker on the 18th hole, and that was a pretty good shot that Tiger Woods hit there. I'll never forget being there. We were doing the live broadcasts back then on CTV and TSN, and I was the guy standing on 18 interviewing people as they came off, and we were lined up behind. I was lined up behind the hole. I saw him. Grant Waite was in the fairway. I saw Tiger in the bunker, and I thought, okay, he's going to have to lay up because the pin was back right, and he's got all sorts of water over there, and he'll end up in a playoff. And all I can remember was him taking his stance, and what went through my mind was, oh my God, he's going for it. And people don't realize the other part about that, which is kind of interesting, was how close the trees were on the right side. They're sort of like fir trees, not big ones, but it's almost like bushes, I guess. they're huge now. They actually block off that shot now. But they were very close to where it was. Tiger actually mentioned that to me one time in an interview years afterwards. But I don't think I've ever been so impressed that he was going for it and to see where it happened, even though he did admit later that he pushed it a little bit. But pretty spectacular shot.
That shot was incredible. Canadians will remember that certainly forever, and certainly all golf fans. And it's funny when you hear Tiger talk about his best shots of all time, that always makes it somewhere in the top three. I've heard him use it as one. I've heard him use it as two. I've heard him use it as three. But the point is that shot for Tiger, when you think of his career and all the shots he's hit, Bob, the fact that it's always top of mind kind of tells you everything you need to know right there, you know?
Yeah.
So. All right, Bob, on the other side, we're going to bring in Adam Scully for a little rapid fire, and then Bob and I are going to announce a new contest launching April 1st with our friends at Adidas Golf. This is GTC's video podcast.
This is Golf Talk Canada, presented by SmartGolfDeals.com. This segment of GTC is brought to you by TaylorMade and the all-new Sim and Sim Max drivers, Shape in Motion. We reshape the driver so you can reshape your game.
Thanks for staying with us as we continue episode 2 of our video podcast here. It's time for a little rapid fire with Adam Scully. Skulls, what's happening, brother?
Good to be with you guys, trying to work out at home as much as I can. A little difficult in this day and age, but doing my best.
Well, I've enjoyed some of your fitness videos and some of your stretches. I'm using those stretches now just to make coffee in the morning. So that's become an athletic endeavor.
I have to admit that I'm lacking on. I havenn't done the 10 push-ups yet in the challenge you gave me, so maybe I'll do that after this podcast.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I got to 10. You
did get to 10. I love the Rocky.
Someone hit me up on Twitter going, Zakito, it's 30. I'm like, 30? Forget that. I'm not even trying 30. My arms were shaking at the end of 10. All right, Scully. What are we thinking about Tiger versus Phil? What's your first gut reaction when you heard this?
I really think, and like you guys discussed, if this was a team format, it would be significantly better. The fact that they're mic'd up, and we wanted to see a lot of trash talk, and we saw some trash talk early on during the matches. I believe on the first hole, Phil missed the putt short, and Tiger said good speed, stuff like that, sort of stuff that us golfers would appreciate. But if there was a team aspect to this, you know, if rumored guys like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning were involved as well, this would add to it a little bit. So hopefully they can do something along this lines for sure.
Yeah, and quick question. So if golf wasn't going on, if we were in a different spot in the world right now and golf was being played, would you care, or you care more because we got nothing to watch?
I'd say I definitely care less if there was a lot of golf going on, but because there's nothing else going on and they're thinking about broadcasting NBA tournament or NBA games with players playing on video games and broadcasting that all over the world, I think, yeah, for sure.
All right, Skulls, let's do around the horn on golf courses here. Favorite golf course, Canada. Favorite golf course